Welcome. If you ever felt trapped in your own mind, stuck in thoughts you didn't choose, feelings you couldn't name, or a silence you feared would consume you, then you're already standing at the threshold of this 24th pattern of change. This isn't a diagnosis, it's a doorway. And today we walk toward it, not to fix anything, but to begin remembering the truth beneath the noise. I'll first start off with a parable called The Loop and the Weaver. At this point, please close your eyes and visualize the story I am about to share. Once in a quiet mountain village where clouds kissed the rooftops, lived a woman named Leila. She was known for her weaving, beautiful, intricate tapestries that seemed to hum with life. But Leila had a secret. Every morning, before the sun rose, she would wake to a voice, not outside her, but inside, a looping whisper, a thought that wouldn't let go. You're missing something. You must do more. Don't stop, or we'll fail. No one knew how she suffered. She worked endlessly, unable to rest, unable to be still. Where she tried to pause, her hands would tremble, her breath would shorten, the silence felt like a threat. One day, an old traveler arrived and asked for shelter. In return, he gifted her a small thread of nothingness. Weave this into your next piece, he said. It's not made of fiber, it's made of stillness. Lyra was puzzled, but she tried. And that evening, she sat before her loom and for the first time waited. The voice returned. You'll lose everything if you stop. And still she waited. Slowly, a single tear ran down her cheek, and she threaded the stillness through her tapestry. When she was done, the fabric shimmered like moonlight, and for the first time in her life, there was no voice, only silence. People from nearby villages came to see her work. They asked how she created such beauty, and she smiled and said, "It wasn't made from doing, it was made from undoing." The Shadow of Addiction and the Evolutionary Echo. Addiction, in the realm of the 24th pattern of change, isn't what we think. It's not just about substance or habits. It's a biological echo, an evolutionary survival loop coded into our minds. Addiction is what happens when the nervous system says stillness is unsafe. When you were young, silence may have felt like abandonment. When the world got loud, the only thing louder was your own inner dialogue. So your mind began looping, not to hurt you, but to keep one alert, to keep one safe. In truth, this 24th shadow is a form of love warped by fear, a protective instinct that has outlived its usefulness. Understanding the biology of the loops and why the mind repeats. The mind seeks resolution, but this 24th challenge shows us some thoughts were never meant to be solved. They're meant to be surrendered. Our mind repeats a thought not because it's true, but because our body hasn't been witnessed. Unfelt emotion creates unfinished loops, and unfinished loops trap natural, innate, divinely guided genius. This is why the gift of this 24th evolutionary pattern of change isn't clarity, it's invention. Not the kind you push out, but the kind that emerges in the gap between thoughts. Inspiration isn't what comes from thinking more. It's what comes from finally pausing long enough to listen. understanding the spiritual challenge, the stillness as a path to grace. This specific challenge doesn't ask one to become a monk or master your mind overnight. It asks one to face the one thing most of us spend our lives avoiding: silence. Not silence as emptiness, but silence as origin, the stillness that was there before your first thought, the space that remembers you, even when you forgot yourself. Transmuting this 24th challenge brings the grace of silence. It is the most paradoxical of all, because it's not something you reach by doing more. It's what appears when you stop trying to escape. The complementary shadow and challenge of the 24th evolutionary pattern is the 44th evolutionary pattern, its shadow of interference and its fear of opposition. Its repressive nature is distrustful, and its reactive nature is misjudging. So you can see how the two dance with each other to keep us locked in to our survival mindset where nothing feels safe outside of us, and possibly nothing feels safe in the depths of our being. For those interested in doing deeper personal alchemy and wish to have a means of accelerating an understanding of shadow work, over the last 3 to 5 years, I have collected a wealth of information from various esoteric systems, namely the I Ching, human design, gene keys, the chakra systems, and astrology, as well as integrating them with the human genetic code. And in this chart, you will find the details of all the different shadows, all the different fears, the specific fears that fuel those specific shadows, all 64, all in relationship to each codon. And in this wheel, you will find 4 legends on each corner because they can't all fit on one corner or one side, to make it a nice, evenly balanced square. So here is the statements from each zodiac sign, so you can see. And then we have the legend for each chakra. You'll notice that there are more than 7, and because there are more than 7, because it is including the spleen as a means to detect threats. So there's an intuitional center there. There's also a center of willpower called the thyroid, because when we are born, the thyroid is literally almost, if not as big as our heart. So we have to accommodate that. And on the other side of this, you will also find an understanding of the I Ching, the hexagram system, the different trigrams, the relationship to the three-dimensional plane, the yin and the yang, and how each of the 6 lines are affiliated with different archetypes, thanks to the human design and or gene key system. And lastly, you will also find the human genetic sequence chart for all the amino acids associated with the human genetic code. But furthermore, you will also find in this chart all the different zodiacs, all 12, mixed with the human design gene key chart. Bear with me, my graphics card is not as fast as other people's on their computer, but you will see all the different fears, all the different shadows, and how they relate to each chakra in those colorful little dots. So you can see how it affects each energy center in the body, and how each of them have their own repressive and reactive statements, because there are 6 expressions in each challenge. Therefore, you will also find those 6 lines in there, all with their own repressive and reactive statements, their associated dilemmas from that specific shadow, which eventually will clear up, the gift from making the right choices regularly and practicing that gift with its own unique self-empowerment statement. So as you learn to vacate the trapped emotions such as sadness, fear, anger, shame, and guilt, and you reorient towards true self-alignment and honoring the intuition and inner authority that you possess, it will lead you towards the grace specific to that challenge. So if you would like to learn more about this and or you would like to download this file for your own personal means of translating your specific challenges in the human design system or in the gene key system, it is all there for you. All you have to go is to my website and download this PDF file. It's about 50 megabytes in size. I hope you enjoy this and hope you enjoy this brief glimpse into this massive PDF with all the details about all the specific challenges you'll have in your personal self-realization path. In order to find this PDF, a link will be found down below in the description of the YouTube video. When using that elaborate and vast chart of information, you can use the human design apps found in the App Store on Google Play so that you can choose whichever speaks to you most. And as you choose whichever human design app works best for you, you can then use that towards the chart. So you get your information and your numbers. And then after that, you can use the chart as reference. For example, I use the human design app, which helps me see the specific numbers that I need to see in the top right-hand corner. The red are the unconscious. These are the ones that were imprinted when the soul decided to remain anchored in the body about 90 days before you were born, between the second and the third trimester. The black numbers indicate the conscious, more aware challenges that you know you have in your current life, based on your survival challenges and your adversities currently going on in your life. You can also find that same application in the Human Design App Store for iPhone and or iOS before you start using the chart that you have purchased online. Thank you very much. And if you ever need more information on this and you wanted a free consultation in understanding the current challenges in your life and how it relates to human design, feel free to reach out through the links below. You can also visit thegenekeys.com. There, you will also find a different kind of chart. It relates to the same challenges and same numerical sequences as found in the I Ching and Human Design. And there you'll be able to find a free profile link where you can then enter in your personal information in this field and then have a look at your specific gene key profiles and understand your genus sequence, your Venus sequence in opening up your heart, your love sequence, prosperity, and finding inner harmony. Thank you for watching this short introduction into the Wheel of Evolutionary Change and the chart that I've shown you in brief. And hopefully through those apps and through this PDF, you will find a way to decode the challenges you face and understand how to make the best choices for you and everyone you were meant to impact positively in your life. Now back to the shadow work and the evolutionary change in this video. Why this shadow exists and why it's part of the process to become holy. You may ask, why does this shadow even exist at all? Because evolution doesn't discard what is broken. It recycles it, refines it, it repatterns. Addiction is part of that pattern. It is our soul's built-in resistance training. Not to punish us, but to teach us how to transmute noise into music, confusion into creation, and fear into the most sacred love of all, the love that trusts life, even in stillness. The call to presence. So here you are, listening to a video about this specific shadow challenge of addiction that says, don't just listen, pause before you scroll, before you fix, before you try to improve, take a breath and let yourself not know for a moment, because that not knowing, that's the silence where your genius is waiting to emerge. If this struck a chord in you, this is great. I appreciate you watching for this long. Down below in the description, you will find some helpful material. You'll also find my email to contact me for a free 45-minute consultation. You'll also find links to my website and my 3 meetup groups. The last, probably most important. The first one is divination systems, so you can understand all the different shadows, all the gifts they have to offer when you transmute them and integrate them, and all the graces that are behind the veils of fear. The next is emotional intelligence and mastery, so you can learn to listen to the emotions, have healthy dialogues with them, and use them through divine will, through self-guided action. And lastly, the emotional trauma release group, where for you, you can be given the opportunity to be in stillness and allow what needs to emerge to do so. And others will hold space for you when you're ready to let go. God bless you on your journey. Namaste. And good life to you